Good evening, speed gaming. Welcome to our nightly Link to the Past randomizer race. Tonight we are giving you an all dungeons open mode race, which is like open mode, only it's all dungeons, so you must collect all pendants, all crystals, and beat both Aghanims. We're featuring Windfox, Moogle-Charm, Edium, and Gamachu, so it should be a great race here. I'm Drossi, and we are introducing Jeff DeRef tonight. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful.
So, what do you think of our lovely all dungeons that we're about to see?
I have played a few myself here at home. It is going to be a phenomenal run. I've especially watched Gamachu a few times, so I'm pretty capable of what he can do. So this ought to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It should be. Oh, great. People are taking bets on us in chat already. But no, seriously, this should be a really good race. And we are off and half magic in Link's house. That is a nice thing to start with, at least as soon as we get a magic item. And that looked like regular crystals in Desert and Hera and a 5-6 in Eastern.
Not too bad.
Yeah, if this were regular open mode, that would be great seeing 3 crystals in the light world. But, you know, now it's like, well, I have to beat all of them anyway.
And it looks like we got arrows off that first tree pull there.
Yeah, it's certainly useful to know about if we run short on arrows later. And there's the red meringue in the Uncle chest.
Really about the only useful thing out of the Uncle checks.
Well, at least they can stun enemies. That's something.
That is true. Kakariko just got a lot easier.
Sorry, I missed it. What did Moogle find?
Sanctuary check was bombed, so that's going to make Kakariko a little bit easier for Blind's Hut and the well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 3 bombs will get you through Blind's Hut, Well, and Chicken Hut, and with that many chests, you hope you pick up some more bombs in there.
Looks like Windfox is making a play to the Lost Woods. Well, looks like everybody is except for Moogle-Charm.
Yeah, Moogle-Charm hasn't been to Link's house yet, as you can see by not having the half magic. But that does mean he's ahead in other checks, and there's Bombos in Blind's Hut.
Well, that's 1/3 of the possibilities for Meyer and Turtle Rock, and the cape coming out of the hut as well.
Wonder if that might be hinting at an early Aga play. Of course, I can guarantee you this is an Aga seed, so we don't need to speculate about that.
Well, it's automatic. It's an all-dungeon seed, so Ag is always required.
Exactly. We might even see pet pulls depending how early the pendant dungeons come up.
Now that will be exciting.
Well, no shortage of bombs in Kakariko, so that's also good since we don't have any other weapons at the moment.
Got our fighter shield coming up right there in the well.
Made with Love by Fisher-Price.
Touche, my friend.
Yeah, our other 3 runners have basically done all the same things, and they're just pretty in sync with each other, and so Moogle-Charm is the only one giving us new checks at the moment.
Only the Arrow of Destiny there, not much help there.
Now, we've kind of been loading up on arrows. Everyone but Moogle-Charm is already at max capacity.
The only thing that will round out the Kakariko checks is if by somehow we come across a bottle, and that will put Stick Kid in play.
So Moogle Charm didn't bother going to check a library or race game, did he?
No, he did not. That could hurt him as far as routing later in the game.
Unless he's planning to circle around there now. No, he's just doing his South Shore checks. That's very interesting routing choice.
Me personally, I would have taken the time to go to the library and see what was boots locked and do the race game.
Meanwhile, he did just grab Samaria out of the dam chest, and that is our first actual weapon, and with that half magic, we can make pretty good use of it.
Not to mention, once we get Dark World access, that's early entry into Turtle Rock, as long as the Bombos Medallion is the one required to open it.
Or it could make Meyerful clearable once we get the flute if we have the Titan's Mitts by then. And
very true. And it looks like Moogle Charm is going after Agina.
Well, that's kind of nice to see because that is definitely a check that can trip up some runners. He's first going to see what's on the desert ledge here, which is totally reasonable.
Totally missed it looking at the other streams here.
It looked like junk, maybe a big 20.
Most likely will not be diverting for that once we get to Desert Palace.
Oh, that Agena play really paid off.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that is our first look at a sword. Meanwhile, Gamachu doing mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, that sword would probably help him. He's on his... Okay, makes it with 2 bombs to spare.
And we get the hookshot and a bow and another sword out of Moldorm Cave. So this is definitely good routing for Gamachu. If he's pretty good at the dark routing for the Death Mountain, it could put East Death Mountain in play for him.
This means this is also about to be Moogle Charm's Master Sword.
Right you are.
And we still need access to Death Mountain, either in the form of a glove or a flute, but I'm sure with that hookshot, the runners will be heading up there as soon as they can.
Absolutely. And speaking of the flute, in the Ice Rod Cave, so Gamachu is all set to do an East Death Mountain play.
And I would bet on him doing that as soon as he activates this flute. Can't go to Tower of Hera, though, without either the hammer or the mirror.
I do expect some of this to be a very divergent point at some point, even though I expect most of them to go to Eastern fairly soon.
With that flute, it also makes it quite a bit easier for these other runners to potentially go to the desert area, check Agena, and get what'll be their Master Sword.
This is true, because not a lot of players route in Agena with their South Shore checks. You don't see that very often.
Oh, and Gamma buys bombs off the bottle vendor because he did not have the money for that earlier. And it looks like our other runners will probably do the same because looking at their rupee counts, they're all in the same boat in that regard.
And Gamachu is doing the Old Man on Death Mountain out of logic because we do not have the lamp yet.
But in terms of dark rooms, this is one of the easiest dark rooms in the game, so it's pretty automatic for these runners to break logic to get whatever the old man has.
This is true. One of the other easiest ones for me would be the Eastern Dark Room to get to the vanilla big key for that dungeon.
Yeah, now that we have that bow, and I'm sure all of these runners can do the Eastern Dark Rooms, they can full clear Eastern.
That they can. And Moogle Charm just realizing that he did not have the gloves as he was trying to pick up that rock going over to Sashrala's hut. But we will also get a chance to find out where our green pendant is.
But Mughal not interested in that information.
No, he is not, and the closet of Sashrala's hut is pretty useless.
Yeah, I guess he figures it's in all dungeons, he'll get it sooner or later.
Can't argue with that logic.
And here's Gamachu picking up his Master Sword, so as I said, that flute is gonna make it easier for the rest of the runners to get that.
Absolutely, and Mughal making his run into Easter. This is our first look into that dungeon.
While Edium and Windfox are nearly synced climbing West Death Mountain. Hey, and you were saying about Sick Kid being another Czech and Kakariko.
Inside of Specruck only had some rupees there.
That hookshot is really nice in Eastern. Skip the room north of this room where we just got the big key, kill some popos, stun some Stalfos.
Absolutely, and everybody else is doing their checks on East Death Mountain, so we're going to get our first look at Paradox.
Yeah, 7 chests in here. Nothing downstairs, though. Or is that upstairs? It's a paradox.
I would count that as downstairs.
Except you get to it by the upper entrance.
True. Don't you just love paradoxes?
Hey, flippers are nice. They're the only useful thing we got out of here, but it's a good useful thing to have.
Absolutely, because that puts the Waterfall Fairy at play and the Waterfall Ledge.
It's also one fewer thing we need to go looking for when it comes time to do Swamp.
Yep, the only other thing we'll need is that big key, that small key, but we know where that's at.
Well, we'll also need the mirror to get into Swamp.
Very true.
And the hammer to get past the first few rooms. Spiral Cave is another place where that hookshot is really useful, especially when you have to slug your way through it without the boots.
Tends to make things easier so you don't get electrocuted.
And there's what will be Gamachu's Tempered, Master for Windfox and Edium.
Gotta love that bacon.
Yeah, bacon at 13 minutes, not something you see every day.
Almost makes me afraid of what's to come in this seed.
And likewise, a lot of these runners are up to, what is that, 8 hearts already? That's also a pretty good health count.
Indeed, it is.
Ooh, notice what's on Lake Hylia Island there.
I missed it. I was paying attention to Moogle Charm as he's making a wonderful, wonderful progression here through the Eastern Palace here.
That looked like the freeze ray to me, though. Chat is saying Fire Rod.
Definitely need that for Trinax and entry into the back half of Skull Woods.
I'm pretty sure it was actually ice, though.
Near perfect execution for Moogle Charm on that Armos Knight. And we get our first crystal.
But other than the crystal itself, which is a 5/6, so that's half of our access to Pyramid Fairy, the only other thing of interest in there was that bottle, which happened to be filled with blue goo, so nice thing to come with your bottle.
And as expected, Moogle is going straight to Sick Kid.
Yeah, Flute definitely helps with that.
Just a piece of love there, and not much help in the Waterfall Cave.
Hey, there's our glove on Zoraledge.
That is definitely useful.
Yeah, I'll expect a save and quit to Sanctuary and a back of escape check.
Whereas Moogle Charm doing his library and race game check.
The downside here is that Windfox and Gamma will both then be orphaning Zora. So if Zora has something important, that could come back to haunt them.
Yeah, but a lot of times Zora does not have very good investments. But who knows? Maybe this seed will trick us.
As expected, Gamachu is going to get those 3 chests in the back of Escape, and if there's a key there, probably continue and do Dark Cross as well.
Gamachu can say rip dark ribs as he picks up our lamp.
You know what that means, don't you? That is our AGA access.
Ooh, indeed it is. And Windfox now picking up his lamp as well.
So Windfox is doing what I was expecting Gamachu to do and taking that key and going to Dark Cross. So we'll see if Gamma missed anything important here.
It is definitely a gamble not doing some checks because you really don't want to isolate anything because you could be searching for it desperately toward the later half of the seed.
Just some cash, though.
So skipping that was a good payoff for Gabachu as he just goes straight to Eastern to go get that crystal.
Now, we haven't seen the front of Escape yet.
I have a feeling Windfox is about to give that to us, though.
Probably. There's an off chance he might just go straight for Aga. But I'm guessing as a newer player, he's not gonna try anything fancy like that and will check the front of Escape first.
Not to mention, it really wouldn't make sense to do the Aga play right now because we have no functionality in the Dark World without that Moon Pearl.
I've seen stranger things. And that Moon Pearl, or progression towards it, could be sitting on Pyramid Ledge for all we know.
That could be interesting.
So Edium and Gamma are both going through Eastern here. Moogle Charm is having fun in Spiral Cave. Going to be picking up his Tempered shortly. And what's Windfox finding here? Oh!
Speaking of the Moon Pearl, now that puts the Aga play fairly capable.
Yeah, so grab the item out of Zelda's Cell, Death Warp, and then Dark World. And with that glove and hookshot, we will also have access to West Dark World once we get over there.
So Windfox doing a save and quit and jumping out of Death Mountain and
He hasn't done
Eastern.
that. Yeah, with 6 items here, he doesn't know it's going to be worthless, but he figures, you know, if the hammer and the mitts show up in these 6 items. I did not see what was on Hobo there.
Neither did I. I was actually focused on Windfox there.
Oh, okay, it was just a piece of heart.
Just a small amount of love, then.
Looks like Edium's about to pick up Tempered.
Gamachu setting up his Armos Knight fight. Picture perfect execution. Couldn't get any better than that.
So I think Gamma and Moogle, at this point, once Moogle finishes back here, will have exhausted every check except for Zora in the front of Escape.
I think you may be right.
Well, I guess Moogle hasn't been to the back either because he's only just now getting his glove.
Ah, yes, he did notice. He did just check and see what that is. I think he's also going. Nope, he don't have enough rupees for Zora. He's going straight for that glove.
Yeah, none of these runners are remotely close to a Zora check. We haven't seen any of those 300 rupee drops. Oh yeah, right. Gamma hasn't checked Sick Kid yet since he just got that bottle.
Don't think he's going to be too pleased with what it has. I do believe it is just a piece of heart.
Well, I mean, that's why he's bedridden. He's having open heart surgery.
Ouch! Burn.
Now the interesting question, with Gamachu about to get the Moon Pearl here in the front of Escape, will he bother with Dark Cross or will he just totally orphan it and go to Aga?
It will be interesting to see how he routes this in.
I mean, we know it's not going to cost him anything to orphan it, but I'm just curious.
Likewise, as everybody else is pretty much synced up as far as items go, with the exception of Windfox, who has not got his bacon yet.
That's because thus far he is the only runner with the Moon Pearl. Doesn't get the quick kill there, but still gets Armos down in reasonable time.
I sense a Dark World play coming up for him.
Probably after a quick flute to 3 and a flute to 6. And I guess he didn't do Saha's Closet on the way in either.
No, he did not, so he's doing that right now, and nobody has done the Sashrala check to see where the green pendant is. But then again, with an all-dungeon seed, I guess they don't really care where it's at. They're going to find it eventually.
So Gamma's death warping out of Zelda's cell. And he will either go to Dark Cross or up to Aga. And yes, he is doing that Dark Cross check. And then he will truly have exhausted everything that he can possibly check before doing Aga Tower. So even as generous as this seed has been with a lot of items off the bat, there's still a lot of items we're going to need to find.
Oh, absolutely, and I think the Dark World is going to be a lot interesting once we get there.
Gamma death warping out of Dark Cross.
Time to make that climb to Aga Tower.
So he will be our first runner going up there.
I'm also setting up that Death Warp to do the exact same thing.
So Windfox is heading over, Moogle Charm is heading over. We're going to be seeing the climb from all of our runners with Edium just a little bit behind.
It will be interesting to see the different routing choices once we get to the Dark World.
Yeah, chat pointing out that there is that off chance that Zora could have a hammer or the Titansmiths. But the amount of time it would take to farm up another 300 rupees probably makes it not worth it in any case. Especially since the runners would have to do Aga Tower sooner or later anyway. It's not like a regular open seed where you're like, but if I farm it and Zora has something, then I don't have to do Aga Tower at all.
Then again, they could totally isolate Zora and be scrambling at the last second to figure out where the item is needed for logical progression.
Well, hopefully the mirror will show up sooner rather than later, and then they can at least combine Catfish with Zora, since those are both usually isolated. Oh yeah, and I haven't seen any numbers flying in chat. If you would like to guess a number from 0 to 15 of how many blue balls Aga has for us today. What do you think, Jeff?
I think we might see 4 tonight.
It's a little bit above average, but that seems reasonable. The seed's been so nice, though, I'm going to go with 1.
I don't think it's going to be that nice.
Well, there was that 1. Okay, you were right.
There's number 3. And Gamachu is spamming Aga with that hook shot, just teasing him.
There's your 4th. So that's lightning. The next will be an energy ball, which will be the 5th, and then it's just a question of how long will it take for that final energy ball. You are right on the mark, my dude.
That is a very rare occurrence when it comes to that guessing game.
And so is Professor Pixie in chat.
Great minds think alike. I actually know her.
Okay, I saw a pendant on ice. And the other 5-6 is vanilla in Meyer. The green pendant was in T-Rock, and I did not see where the red pendant was.
Well, we'll just add Meyer to the column of, is this thing on?
Chat is saying Thievestown was the final pendant.
Gamachu make it a direct route for a pod.
I wonder if any of the runners will give Pod a skip and go over to West Dark World. Because usually when you have to do Aga for Dark World access, you don't have West Dark World access, so Pod's basically the only play.
Pyramid only has a sack of arrows.
What's our first pod check got for us?
Just a key. While Windfox and Moogle Charm are making that play to West Dark World.
And it looks like Edium is too, so we'll see if Gamma's decision to go to Pod despite having that hookshot pays off.
And Bumper Ledge just has a piece of heart, so most likely will not be coming back for that. And I think Moogle Charm's making a play for the front half of Skullwood.
Makes sense. Skullwood has progression surprisingly often for a dungeon that only has 2 items. In fact, Windfox is going there as well.
I think Edium is making the same play as well.
And Gamma finds his first pod item, and it is the bug net. All important.
That will allow us to catch fairies to put in those all-important bottles.
So there may be one item here on the bow-locked side, though at least one of the chests has to be our 4th front key.
And yes, the chat was right. The red pendant is in Thievestown.
Now that early Cane of Samaria is proving very nice for Edium there, being able to not drag the statue. And one of our items there is just the Uncle Bombs.
Gamachu got to be careful here as he takes a death there. Not sure if that was intentional or not.
Yeah, because without the hammer, he can't progress from there.
So a death warp back to the beginning and rerouting in the other side?
Yeah, now we'll go to the back, and the big key was the other non-small key item, so we have 4 items in the back, though one of them might be on Helmosaur, and therefore inaccessible without the hammer.
I wonder if we're going to see the hammer jump from Gamachu after he gets done doing these checks.
Probably depends on whether he has to go through Harmless Hellway to get an item, which he will because that is our final small key.
And he's also spamming these rupees, trying to get that rupee count up. Maybe he's thinking about putting Zora in play at some point?
I'm guessing yes. And Windfox and Edium are over in the Village of Outcasts, and Gamma's still got 3 more items to find here, but so far Pod has been a total bust, and
Fire Shield for Windfox in the C-shaped house.
And Silvers for Moogle Charm in the chest game.
That's going to make Ganon a lot easier.
And I'm assuming all of our runners will get that, though you never know, because we did have that race in the Speed Gaming Live quals where a bunch of runners got their Go Mode Ice Rod in the chest game, which they had just been avoiding.
And Abominable Hut has the Book of Medora.
Yeah, so Village of Outcasts was probably the play here, and Gamma gets nothing except for some rupees, really, for all that time in Pod. So that's going to set him back a bit.
Indeed it is, and we're getting our first look at the first 4 checks of Thieves Town.
That's the small key in front, so the runners are now going to have to decide whether they want to clear out the back and orphan the big chest, or whether they just want to do the front and come back for the back when they have the hammer.
Now that will be interesting routing on that part. And if they do, it does decide to take out Blind, it is going to be a rather difficult fight, especially for Windfox and his heart count right now, because Blind is very difficult. The only scripted fight in the entire game.
Yeah, really, you just have to make sure you grab the hearts under pots, though they do also have blue potions, all of them, that they got in Eastern.
I did forget about the blue potion.
So now Gamma's really orphaning Zora because he is doing catfish and doesn't have the mirror. Oh, and that's the blue mail. Nice find. Speaking of things to make Thieves Town easier.
Yes, that will make Thieves Town a little bit easier for Gamachu, though I don't know if I would have made that play. I might have saved that for when I got the mirror.
Yeah, especially after collecting all those rupees. I guess, though, it's not that much work to flute to 8 and then take the Whirlpool Warp.
I do have a feeling he might come to regret that routing choice a little bit later.
Yeah, that said, overall, his execution is the best of these 4 restreamed runners, so I wouldn't put him by him to be able to make up the time.
This is true. He's making up really good time on this. And it looks like Moogle Charm is setting up to do a clear of Thieves Town, because he is setting up to take on the Blind.
As are Windfox and Edium, since they're going to the attic as well. Oh, and there's our other mail.
by the time Gamachu gets there, he will have his red mail.
Yeah, red mail, silver arrows, and we're at about the 40-minute mark. Not that any runner so far has actually picked up red mail, but still.
Not too shabby at this point, and like you said, the routing choices of Gamachu has been pretty spot on, so I do kind of give him the edge at this point.
Oh, and I totally missed that was Ether and Blind's chest. So I forget whether the map or the compass is still outstanding, but one of them is on... One dungeon item is on Blind, and the other is in that big chest. So if Blind gives us a real item, then we know we don't have to come back for the big chest.
Well, I feel we will find out here in just a second, as Mogul Charm does take out that first head, working on that second one right now.
And making good use of the cape there as he gets to low health. And there's our mirror, so that is both some nice progression, and it means we don't have to come back to Thieves.
Exactly, that is a wonderful find to see on Blind. Now, that will definitely make for some different routing choices. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think these other runners now might well do Catfish and Zora together once they have Zora money.
And Gamachu making his play for Skullwoods here. Albeit we know he won't find much here in the front half, but...
Now, what do we think Digging Game's gonna give us? Hopefully at least our money back, since rupees have been a bit tight so far.
Knowing our luck, it'll be a small magic pot.
That is a lot of digs. Whoa!
I was wrong. That is Titan's Mitt for Moogle Charm. Yikes.
Okay, now we're really opening up the world. But... Oh, right, while we're here, he's just gonna include Smith Chain. He's got the mirror, too. Can't do Hammer Pegs or Magic Bat, but can do Smiths and bring down the purple chest.
Could possibly, well... I don't think he's going to do the world tour, but he could also route in K45 and the Bombos tab.
Yeah, I'm thinking he will do that. He'll grab the purple chest, he'll do Cave 45, Stumpy. Whoa! Okay, I'm thinking he'll do Hammer Pegs.
Absolutely, coming off with the hammer with that Dwarven return. It just don't get much better than that.
Except that he has to do it without the boots, so he can't do the hammer dash.
Yeah, the slow and agonizing way of doing this.
In other words, the way the game intended you to do it.
Exactly. Edium and Windfox also going to be getting their hammer here in just a hot second. Gamachu making his play for Thieves Town. And here we go with the other three doing the Purple Chest World Tour.
Yeah, so Edium actually gets into Cave 45 just ahead of Moogle Charm. They just see a bundle of sticks.
Windfox is just maybe a few seconds, maybe a few minutes behind the other two.
Okay, a bit more cash on Stumpy. I feel weird calling this a nice seed considering Aga was our Dark World access, but this really has been a nice seed so far.
Yeah, that kind of scares me a bit.
I guess the Fire Rod is our big outstanding item, and potentially Quake depending on the medallion requirements.
Right, and we only have a 33.3% chance that either Meyer or Turtle Rock will not require that particular medallion.
So nothing on Bombos there. At some point, our runners will have to go over to Dark Lake Hylia and get their Ice Rod.
And speaking of Meyer, it looks like Moogle going over there, so we'll get to see what our entrance requirement is for that one.
And if it's not Quake, we can just do the dungeon. It's Quake.
Ouch. Not what we were looking for on there, so I think there goes your nice speed.
Yeah, what you gonna do? There is the outside chance that Quake could be in Checkerboard Cave and we have one of those key under the doormat situations.
This is true.
Or in Desert. It looks like Moogle gonna check out Desert while he's in the neighborhood, which totally makes sense. We'll find out if it's boots locked.
Yeah, because if that small key is on that torch, then this dungeon will be boots locked for the right side of this dungeon.
Meanwhile, Edium realizes he has everything he needs to clear Swamp, so here he goes.
And I don't think right side is boots locked. We just got the small key, and Moogle is right there.
No, there was just a bloopy on the torch, so that is one of the two items here, but not something we need.
Yeah, I kind of missed that. I was actually looking at Edium making his run through Swamp here. And Windfox is also making his run into Swamp.
So there is one more item in Desert. It is either on Landmo or in the big chest. Moogle's just gonna beat Landmo and then go back for the big chest if he has to, which makes sense.
Meanwhile, Gamachu finally picking up his Book of Mador, and I think he's going to go for the shovel game himself.
So the biggest risk to Gamma is if the other runners go to pod so late that they're already in go mode, because the big key was in the front, so go mode pod's going to be relatively quick for them. If they go to it not in go mode and full clear it, I think Gamma makes up his lost time.
This is fairly an exciting race. I'm rather enjoying this, as Moogle is getting ready to fight the Landmolas here.
They go down kind of quickly with silvers.
That they do. One hit each, it's all it takes.
And that final item is in the big chest, so Moogle will probably go back for it.
That was a gamble going straight to the back half of Desert without checking that chest first.
And Edium nicely using the Cane of Samaria to execute the glitch we know as Diver Down, which dramatically shortens going to the left side of Swamp. The catch is that you can only use it your first time through Swamp because otherwise you're not up a key. Hey, and there we have our second bottle, was the other item in Desert.
Yep, just a little bit of green goo there.
Gamma forgetting that you can't actually drag the purple chest into caves, but it's fine with being left behind. So I don't think we've seen anything useful in Swamp yet.
No, not really, and Checkerboard only has a piece of love.
So I think Moogle Charm's going to do the same thing, only coming from the north here, I think we're going to see Hype Cave.
Yep, the not-so-hype cave.
Idiom setting up another diver down here in the back, saves you having to drag a statue. And there's our third bottle and the shovel.
We will finally get a chance to see what is in the grove.
We are just getting a fetch quest extravaganza here, and there's our Quake.
Google Charm now has his entry into Mire should he decide to take it.
And that also puts Moogle Charm a fire rod away from go mode, because I think he's about to pick up his ice rod here.
Yep, and it will definitely be a fire rod go mode for Moogle Charm here. Where is it?
Interesting. He is going back to Mire with that Quake medallion.
I kind of figured he was going to make that play, knowing that the entrance requirement was that particular medallion.
The thing is, Mire only has 2 items in it, and the chests are kind of spread out.
However, if he does decide to full clear it, if he can, he could be just making that for that play.
I mean, maybe he'll be lucky and the 2 items will come up quickly and the big key will come up quickly. Or at least the 2 items will come up before the big key, and therefore there will be no difference between Go Mode Mire and Full Clear Mire. So Edium's going to get that Quake here along with the powder.
It also means for Moogle Charm and Edium, they will also be able to enter Turtle Rock when they get up there.
Yeah, and I have to imagine just because the other 2 runners are in Swamp now that they'll check Hype Cave as their next thing after Swamp.
I tend to agree. So, yeah, Fire Rod looks like it's going to be the go mode item here. And, gee, I wonder where it's at.
That is the 10,000 rupee question. I guess the nice thing about Mire here is that Vitrius goes down so quickly with silvers.
As long as Turtle Rock is not a pendant dungeon, it could be on the pedestal.
But the other thing is, Myers are other 5-6. So after this, Moogle Charm could do the pyramid.
Oh, yeah, that pyramid fairy, she could be hiding it.
Edium, meanwhile, decided to take his Bombos and go into ice. So we're definitely getting some divergence here. I'm
Some
very
big-time
curious.
Some big-time divergence here.
And we have a mirror shield as our first item in Meyer. I don't think Moogle Charm wanted to see that necessarily.
No, I think he's more or less looking for that fire rod. So seeing that mirror shield, while it might be helpful, not what we're looking for.
There's our big key and map chest. Did we get the other item in there? Was there an item in lobby chest and I just missed it? Okay, yeah, chat's confirming it was a heart container. So that's nice. We didn't have to check the big chest. We didn't have to check the cutscene chest. And Windfox has joined Edium in Ice Palace.
And speaking of Edium, he's doing the icebreaker.
To find a vanilla big key.
Chalk another one up to the, is this thing on?
So Gamma will take down Argus here. Again, another boss that goes down very quickly to silvers. Oh, and there are those boots. Gotta go fast.
That will definitely help make up some time for that.
Yeah, I'm sure Windfox will be happy to see those incoming. So Gamma's now going to do Hype Cave and then grab his Ice Rod.
Meanwhile, Moogle Charm making short work of Meyer as he now takes on Vitreous. Those eyeballs are no match for those silver arrows.
And I guess Edium just found his third item in Freezor Room because he's now bypassing the big chest and going straight to Cold Stare.
And I missed that was because I was looking at Moogle Charm and his nicely executed fight against Vitreous.
Sorry, I blinked and I missed Vitreous. Cold Stare should be a nice fight here with Tempered Sword. And Blue Mail. Exactly what the game expects you to have for Cold Stare. Wow, didn't even let him out of the corner. That was a really nice Cold Stare fight.
Spammed him in a corner. Well, I guess in this instance, baby stays in corner. And now Moogle Charm and Gamachu making their Ice Palace runs.
And with all those rupees we've collected, I wonder if any of our runners are going to do that Catfish Zora play. They're probably going to do dungeons as long as they can, though.
Speaking of Zora, it would be quite interesting to see if she's the one that's holding that fire rod.
It would be funny.
Though I don't think Gamachu will think it's all that funny as he's already been up that way.
Yeah, and for the other runners, I think they're going to do all the dungeons not on Death Mountain before they go to Zora. do the ones along the bottom. You got Myers, Skull Woods, Ice Palace, Desert. We've seen all of them between the Forerunners, but I think all 4 of them will do all 4 of those dungeons. And then maybe swing over to Pod and then go to Catfish and Zora. And if that's the case, then Gamachu makes up his time because the other runners will be full clearing Pod.
Gamachu still needs to go back to Pod to clear it.
Also, I was just thinking, with all our runners diverging in their routes and it being hard to keep track of everything, shout outs to our trackers today, Duo and Jinxie Girl, who have been doing a great job keeping up with what all of these runners have been doing.
Yes, phenomenal job on our trackers. Very well done.
And of course, shout outs to the runners themselves, who are nicely allowing us to restream them, and do give them a follow. They're all quite good runners, and they're around a lot. You'll be seeing plenty more of them.
That you will, and I would also like to shout out to the community here for allowing me to be a part of it, as this is my debut on commentary for Speed Gaming.
Okay, phew. I was afraid when Edium went back down that he might do cutscene chest, which would cost him a minute or two, but fortunately he's not. He'll get his second item, he'll get the big key and map chest, and we'll never see the cutscene. Oh. I guess the heart container was earlier. I totally missed where the heart container was. Nice synchronized... Go ahead.
Moogle Charm also trapping Cold Stare into that corner.
Yeah, I was going to say those were almost synchronized Cold Stare explosions on the 2 right side runners.
Yeah, I think they were only mere seconds apart.
Oh, interesting. Gamma's going back and going to finish off Eastern, and he still hasn't even been to the Desert Mire area. Interesting decision to do this for just one check. But hey, if that Fire Rod happens to be on Helmasaur, he'll be in go mode.
Right you are. We are still looking for that Fire Rod. Any guesses of where it might be?
Well, the horrible option would be Laser Bridge. But really, the only things locked by the Fire Rod are Mothula, the 2 Fire Rod chests in TR, Trinex, and potentially other things in TR depending on what the key layout is like.
This is true. Fire Rod could also be in a number of places. What I've been speculating, Zora. It could be on Ped since Turtle Rock is a crystal. And it could be should have lost my train of thought on that one.
Could be in like Tower of Hera. I don't think the runners want to make their second Death Mountain climb without the Fire Rod if they can help it. Because then they're looking at a third Death Mountain climb because they'd have to go back down, finish off Skull Woods before they could go back up and do Ganon's Tower.
And it just dawned on me, it also could be on Sashrala, that green pendant fetch quest.
And it could be on Graveyard Ledge. We haven't seen that, or King's Tomb. Plenty of checks left.
And Gamachu making his Helmasaur fight.
Again, those silvers are going to be nice when we get the mask off.
17 hits with the hammer, and we're mask free.
And 1 silver arrow.
Just a pair of bombs for Helmasaur.
All right, so chat reminding us that Pyramid Fairy's open, and I was thinking Moogle Charm might check it after Meyer, and he clearly hasn't.
And as I suspected, Gamachu making a play for Meyer right after Pod.
And he'll undoubtedly combine this with Desert.
Would make sense.
Whoa, Ice Rod strats in that room. That's interesting.
Yes, it is. And Moogle Charm now taking on his Helmasaur fight.
And I think there were 3 Landmos in that room where Edium is, but they kind of disappeared quickly.
They disappeared very quickly. I didn't even see them. Were they invisible?
The game's like, you know, you got this. We're out of here. So that is Moogle Charm's 6th dungeon. Edium also just got his 6th dungeon. And so Moogle has a little advantage depending on how he routes this, since he got an item off of Helma, and he got that all-important bug net. He knows that there are only 3 items in the back here, so as soon as he finds those 3 items...
And he's going to do the hammer yump.
Which unfortunately won't pay off, because I believe the big chest has a dungeon item, so if he did the other routing, he would have been able to just skip it.
And he has to abandon it because the break catches up to him. He will most likely reattempt that as he comes back to it after doing these next set of checks.
Yeah, so he's not going to bother with the hammer yump, which turns out to be a good thing, because he will get his final 2 items in the dark maze and just mirror out without even going to the big chest.
That will definitely save him some time not attempting it a second time.
So let's see if he does catfish now. No, he is probably going to do Swamp, though he might do Pyramid Fairy.
I have a feeling he's going to go to Swamp first.
Yeah, 6 items versus 2. And a crystal.
Definitely makes sense to go to the item dense area first.
But these runners are going to be evened up pretty soon. Like, they can't finish Skullwoods, they can't finish Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod. They probably don't want to go up to Hera, as I said before about not wanting to do another Death Mountain climb without the Fire Rod. But we're getting close to the point where they all have the other 7 dungeons done.
Then again, they might not have a choice but to make another climb up to Death Mountain, because, hey, it could be hiding up there. It could be on that Ether tab. It could be inside the dungeon.
And what do we have left for overworld checks not on Death Mountain? No one's actually looked at Lumberjack yet.
Which is fairly odd, because typically you see that as one of the very first checks in the game.
But some runners don't like to check it until they have the boots, and I guess all of these runners fell into that category.
There's definitely some interesting routing choices.
So we have Lumberjack, King's Tomb, Graveyard Ledge, Pyramid Fairy, and Zora, and I think those are the only overworld checks we haven't seen yet.
And you were forgetting the...
outside of Death Mountain.
You were also forgetting the Grove check with the shovel, which ended up just being a bunch of rupees. Windfox, thank you for that one.
Oh, but Magic Bat, right. And Windfox is going to be the first runner to give us that Pyramid Fairy check.
While we wait for him to actually get that bomb in place, Adium now taking on Helmasaur, and Moguchar making his way through Swamp pretty decently.
And just some love in that Pyramid Fairy. So for our knowledge, we're down to 5 checks outstanding in the overworld before we have to go up Death Mountain.
That does sound about right.
And Windfox is going to be the first of our runners to do that combined Catfish Zora play.
I just realized we actually forgot one. The mushroom.
Oh? Well, we haven't found the mushroom yet.
But the witch could be hiding that fire rod.
But unless the mushroom is in one of those other 5 remaining checks, then we're going up Death Mountain regardless.
Very true.
Windfox gets his red mail there. And Gamma and Moogle have both completed their 7th dungeons nearly simultaneously. Wind Fox is a little bit now behind in the dungeon count just because he is prioritizing these overworld checks ahead of doing pod. Which will be smart if if the Fire Rod is here in Zora or any other overworld check he does before pod, he can go mode pod.
And Zora just selling a boatload of arrows. Those were some rather expensive arrows. Mogul Charm with King's Tomb.
More arrows. Ooh, but they came here from... Oh, and we forgot Bonk Rocks. We completely forgot Bonk Rocks.
Oh, you're right. I totally forgot about the Bonk Rocks. That is totally a play with the boots. Mogul Charm now actually going to give us that, speaking of Bonk Rocks. And it ended up being a piece of love.
So we are down to Lumberjack, Graveyard Ledge, and Magic Bat before we have to climb Death Mountain.
Well, they're aggravating a bee's nest.
What is Magic Bat cursing Gamachu with?
A piece of love and...
A big 20 in Lumberjack. So...
no help there.
Either it's on Graveyard Ledge or Moogle Charm's not even going to bother with Graveyard Ledge.
Nope, he is going straight up Death Mountain. Mind you, it still could be on pedestal.
No, it can't because we can't beat Turtle Rock. So that removes Pedestal and Green and Sahasrala's reward for Green Pendant from the equation.
Oh, Turtle Rock's a pendant. I thought it was a crystal.
So yeah, somewhere on Death Mountain is either the Fire Rod or the mushroom leading to the Fire Rod, since that's the only fetch quest. Oh, there we go. At 1:16:47, Moogle Charm is in go mode.
I do apologize for that. I totally misread the tracker there.
Hey, and there's the mushroom. And Moogle Charm says no thanks.
And he is setting up the Harapot.
Gets it, can charge straight up to Moldorm here.
With Bacon, it's going to be a pretty simple fight. As simple as the old 1-2 punch.
So the funny thing is, I'm not sure the double and soon-to-be triple climb of Death Mountain was actually required, because the only thing we got from the first climb was flippers. So theoretically, you didn't have to do Death Mountain that first time before Aga, but it's hard to imagine, especially since they got that hook shot early, that any runner would have not done Death Mountain before Aga.
Gamachu doing that hook shot cave check. And of course, he gets to start cooking with butter.
Well, I guess that's one prize, but he's going to feel a little silly when he gets over to Ether Tablet and finds his fire rod just sitting there.
Indeed, he is.
But boy, is he going to have a short Ganon fight.
Very short. While Moogle Charm taking his play into the back half of Skull Woods. And as you noted earlier, he is opting to save Turtle Rock for last. Gamachu setting up for that Harapod as well, while Moogle Charm is now fighting Mothula.
And there is crystal number 7 for Moogle Charm.
All Moogle has left is Turtle Rock and the climb to Ganon's Tower.
Ooh, and Gamma takes a fall to the Troll Dorm.
That's not going to do any good for him as far as time goes.
Okay, for those of you keeping track at home, the score is currently Moldorm 2, Gamachu nothing. And third time's a charm.
Had Moldorm been any closer to the center, that would have been Moldorm 3, Gamachu 0. But he was able to get that hit in at that last second.
And Edium finishes off of Skull Woods. Oh, interesting routing choice on Edium's part. I guess he's gonna combine Tower of Hera with GT.
Interesting routing choice there, as Moogle Charm now entering Turtle Rock, which required the Bombos Medallion to enter.
And unfortunately, it depends on the key layout here, but chances are high that we're not going to be able to go mode Turtle Rock just because of all the keys we need.
Speaking of a key,
1 of 4. Though since we are officially in Go mode, we would only actually need all 4 if the big key's vanilla.
and it does look like you were correct on the Edium play. It does look like he is setting up for the Tower of Hera GT combo.
And Gamachu is going at Moth with the Butter Sword. Don't try this at home in the vanilla game, because if you do, you will be unable to damage Moth. Lovely developer decision there that they wanted Moth immune to spikes. Spikes do butter sword damage, so make him immune to butter sword, of course. And for purposes of randomizer, the developers here got around it by making the gold sword do tempered damage to Moth.
That is definitely interesting to know. Gamachu getting bounced on the head by the cabbage.
I mean, you'd really have to be trying in NMG to go to the Mothula fight with the butter sword, but it's possible. I mean, there's nothing saying you can't go to Eisenmeyer first.
Moogle Charm and Gamachu, they are fairly close together. I think Gamachu's only about maybe 3 to 5 minutes behind Moogle.
So now, let's just hope it's not that, 2.5% chance where there are no keys on Laser Bridge and Moogle will have to go all the way back to the big chest.
Yeah, that could be a time sink for him if that ends up being the case.
At least the Mirror Shield makes Laser Bridge nice and easy, except Moogle just takes a dive off the side. And there's our key.
And I actually think he actually got hit by that one laser because he took it off to the side because he wasn't facing the laser, so it didn't deflect off the shield.
Unlike last night's race, we will not see a hover to Trinex tonight.
That hover last night was insane. I was watching that.
I looked afterwards to see. You want to guess how many attempts he made?
I think he made overall about maybe 10. It took him about 5 minutes to actually get it done.
23.
Yikes!
Though some of them ended pretty quickly.
That poor controller. Trinex goes down pretty quickly thanks to Moogle. I think we will now be starting that guessing game of where is that big key in Ganon's tower.
Yeah. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, since I got the blue balls right tonight, I think I'm going to go with check number 9.
Sounds good to me. I think I'll go with 12. See a whole range of numbers coming out in chat. So it'll be interesting to see which of Edium and Gamachu winds up entering GT first, because Edium's already at Trinex, but Gamachu's already done Tower of Hera.
That should be interesting to see, as Moogle Charm is now actually inside Ganon's tower. And that first check is a small key.
And it looks like he's probably going to do Dark Magician routing. That meta's really taken off in the last few months.
It is definitely an interesting route choice.
It's not one I'm particularly a fan of, but that's just me. I guess it does save you from having to kill the enemies in this room.
And he just mirrors out, and now we're going to the right side. Number 7 is where the big key was.
So if he had just done the regular routing, he could have gotten it as number 1. So let's see if maybe Gamma or Edium goes to Hope Room first and has a very fast time of GT basement. Though they still won't make up the time on Edium. I mean on Moogle Charm.
No, I think the only person that stands a chance of doing that is Gamachu, depending on how well he handles this climb and the Ganon fight itself.
Speaking of Gamachu's position, with that Butter Sword, he's getting the 0 cycle on Trinex. That was really nice. Meanwhile, Edium takes down Moldorm without falling. Those Moldorm falls definitely cost Gamma some time.
Yes, they did. But he can make it up depending on how nasty Ganon decides to be tonight.
And Windfox is a bit behind, but not super behind. Okay, does Edium go to Hope Room? Does Gamma go to Hope Room?
We shall see. Which way is Edium going to? He's going straight to the Hope Room. He's going to get his big key right off the bat.
And I believe there was a small key in there too. It's like the God Hope Room. No, there isn't. So he will have to go left and get the key off the torch.
And Pikachu making the same play, so he's also going to have to go over to the left side to get that key.
Edium, what? Oh, I see. He's getting the second key so that he doesn't have to beat the mini Helmas upstairs.
Meanwhile, Moogle Charm, he's making short work of these rooms right here.
Gamma, on the other hand, has decided that he will beat those mini Helmas upstairs. And speaking of mini Helmas, Moogle Charm is already 2 rooms away from them. But he's got more keys than he'll ever need in here.
Absolutely, he is just not wasting no time. He is just making that run.
Down goes Moldorm 2.
Not sure why he opted to check that chest. Didn't really need to.
Memes.
Yeah, those could be funny. And here we go, Aga 2.
Oh, and Gamachu and Edium are a room apart now.
Looks like we had a single, then a double, and then a straight-out miss.
So this could give Gamma and or Edium an opportunity to make up a bit of time if they have a cleaner Agatu fight.
Yeah, Moogle showing his displeasure on how that fight went. He is not happy.
Yeah, was that like a 5 cycle or a 6 cycle?
I think it was a 5 cycle. But here we go, the moment of truth. How nasty will Ganon be tonight? As we now play Stick the Pig.
And Windfox just got his key off of Laser Bridge, so he's heading over to Trinex. Should only be maybe 5 minutes behind these other runners.
And Moogle making nice work using that cape there, utilizing that half magic he has. But will he get that ever so lovely torch glitch? Gotta reignite the left side before the right side goes out in order to get that glitch right.
Oh, and he switched to silvers instead of to Fire Rod.
And he missed that glitch as a result.
And takes a Ganon hug too, which deprives him of the opportunity. Oh no!
An unfortunate Ganon death, but he has a fairy that might save him.
Just try not to take any more Ganon hugs.
Careful. Ooh, he is dangerously close to that edge.
By the way, remember what I was saying about Gamma being able to potentially catch up on having the best execution of these runners? He's past Edium. He was behind Edium basically the whole way up the tower, but he had such a clean Agatu fight that he's going to drop into Ganon first.
However, Ganon has been stuck. He is dead. We just got to wait for that official time as Moogle gets ready to cross that bridge.
And get your GGs in chat as Moogle Charm finishes first of our restreamed runners and first overall with an official race time of 1:37.22.
Nicely done.
And right behind him off stream is Koi with a race time of 1:38.19. Meanwhile, Gamma is here in Phase 3.
I believe he did get that glitch. Oh, no, he did not.
But there goes Ganon.
The second one to complete of our restreamers this evening. Just gotta wait for that official time.
And Gamachu, besides being second on our restream, is third overall at 1:38.33, while Edium gets his sword up. And he crosses third on our restream and fourth overall with an official time of 1:38.55. So I think we got a few runners in here with us. Let's see. Looks like we have Gamachu. And I saw Moogle Charm in the waiting room, and he disappeared, so I'm not sure what's up there.
And Wind Fox taking Boldorm out, so he will be coming up along nicely here in a second.
But in the meantime, Gamachu, GG's. And Moogle Charm now, GG's. Hopefully, at least one of you has a working mic.
Yo, thanks for GG. GG's, Moogle.
Moogle seems to be having some technical difficulties here. But yeah, Gamma, what did you think of that race?
It was pretty friendly. Yo, Idiom, GG's.
GG. Yeah, it was a pretty friendly. Let's see, what was your go mode, Gamma?
Fire Rod.
Yeah, same.
It was Fire Rod for all of you. I mean, I can understand you didn't want to climb Death Mountain a second time.
Yeah, pretty much clearing everything I can before, going up Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, and you guys were neck and neck going up GT actually.
Hey, GG's.
It was a very exciting race seeing you guys go up doing that. Great game, guys. Great game.
Oh, there's Moogle. GG's, Moogle.
GG Gamma.
GG.
GG's Idiom.
Yeah, so Moogle, that was some nice routing. I mean, you practically tore through. You had some kind of unorthodox routing at the beginning. Take us through your thoughts for how you did the early routing at the opening.
Sure. So, yeah, when I went to CAC, I didn't have enough money to do the bottle vendor. So I didn't want to kind of redip Blind's Hut again just to get 30 rupees. So I figured, well, I'll just save and quit, and I'll do bottle vendor with the race game in the library kind of all at once. So basically just noped out right away and figured, well, let's kind of make an unorthodox play and go to Agina, see what's there. And there was a sword, and that felt really nice. So I just kind of went back to the usual routing after that. But yeah, it was really because I had no money. And then when I got that flute, it was real nice because I could just do the bottle vendor and the other stuff later.
Yeah, that's actually what I did too. No money early on in the game. I just said, I'll hold off on it. And then the flute came along. I'm like, oh, perfect. I could just combo both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was more interesting about Moogle Charm's routing was that he skipped the race game and didn't even check it or library until he went back to get the stuff from Bottle Vendor.
I might have even done it later when I got the bottle. I can't remember when that first bottle came, but I think I paired it in with Sick Kid.
Oh, I was the only one with Gold Sword?
Yeah, everyone else grabbed the Fire Rod before they went to Dark Death Mountain.
Oh, I guess I should have routed that way. I was trying to get everything out of the way in case there was an item in Hera Basement, then I would commit to it at that point.
Yeah, that and your pod double dip are probably the only things that separated you from first place here.
Yeah, it didn't work out this time, but I'm a pretty big fan of doing pod play after Naga Seed. Especially with early bow, but that bow led to nothing.
Did anyone else get the hammer off Smith's and then immediately forget about hammer pegs and just leave?
No.
I did that as soon as I got the hammer. But I could see that.
I mean, I had to make a special trip back there because I'm just like, I'm so screwed if it's there. So, yeah.
And hey,
I think that extra trip was the difference between me and you.
Between both of us. Yeah, because both of us were pretty close.
that and your Agatu fight, Gamma had the faster Agatu fight.
Yeah, my Agatu was pretty terrible, but those are dumb patterns.
Yeah, my Ganon was probably the worst silver Ganon ever. I probably lost a minute doing that.
I did notice the one location that none of our restreamed runners checked before doing the second Death Mountain climb was Graveyard Ledge. I guess you guys all just figured it was a little bit too out of the way.
Oh, there was no way that was happening. Not was what is
Yeah.
it? 10 checks up the mountain.
I just did all the boots checks because I was like, the boots weren't required for desert, so maybe they're required for getting the fire rod or something. So I went and did the boots checks, and I was just like, screw Graveyard Ledge. I'm just last located.
I would have comboed that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say I was gonna combo it in with Pyramid Fairy and Catfish if it got to that point, but
Oh, you skipped Catfish?
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
skipped Catfish too.
missed out on a nice armor upgrade.
those are your favorite. You had gold
Yeah.
sword, red armor.
And Bugnet, I needed that
And
Bugnet
Bugnet.
from Pod early on.
Yeah, and it was half magic at Link's house. It was like,
that
this is a Gamma Seed.
Yeah.
And you all had the mirror shield. I'm sure you loved having that.
It was nice for
Absolutely.
Laser Bridge.
Yeah. Oh, did you see my nice textbook Ganon Moldorm fight? That was something. I took 2 falls, one in the
Nice.
middle. Yeah. So that was nice.
But yeah, I mean, generally the seed worked out well for all of you except for, that fire rod taking a while.
Yeah, it was a pretty straightforward seed. The items just kind of told you where to go, and then eventually, like, most of the crystals opened up. So like, if I'd gone to the mountain earlier, which I might have done if I didn't have all the medallions. If I only had one medallion, I probably would have went up the mountain just to check TR. But since I had all the medallions, that felt pointless. So I put it off.
Yeah, I think I cleared out too much. The only thing I had left before I went to back up the mountain was, what was it? Pyramid Fairy and Graveyard Ledge and Zora. Did anybody do Zora?
No, I didn't do powder or shovel either.
Oh yeah, I
When-
did those.
Windfox did Zora. It was some very expensive arrows.
Anybody do left side swamp?
Yep.
Oh,
The
that I
harpies.
skipped too. Nice. I should have gone for that.
Yeah, I was like maybe gonna skip it, but I got a map in the front, so I said I might as well go clear.
Yeah, it just decided against it because I was only Fire Rod and maybe Quake and Boots for Go mode because I didn't check the other medallion dungeons and Desert.
I was in fire rod mode for a long time. I ended up dipping ice. I think relatively speaking, it was kind of early to get, and I got the boots there. I had the quake pretty early.
Yeah, those of you who went to ice relatively quickly, it sure paid off with those boots. And Moogle Charm, were you the one who went to Meyer as soon as you got the mitts, basically, or was that Edium?
Yeah, I did. I remember kind of doing that Smith chain loop, and then once I got the mitts, I think I went right to Meyer, if I remember correctly.
And then, of course, it had to be Quake.
Yeah, it was Quake, and then I finished up Desert, and then as soon as I found that Quake, I think I went right back.
Yeah, because I think everyone else went to Hype Cave basically right after doing Smith Chain.
Yeah, I did Swamp before I even touched Hype Cave.
Same.
Oh, right. Yeah, geographically that made sense. The rest of you did Smith Chain, went straight east to Swamp and then north to Hype Cave, but in either case, you got all your medallions before going to Meyer area.
Yeah, I figured because I had the hammer at that point, so it was like, well, I can kind of do this, Swamp, Ice, Hype Cave, Ice Rod, like all, a little bit later. I wanted to check the medallion for Mire, and then I figured I could always clear out desert while I'm here. So.
And by the way, we've got Windfox on Ganon now. He did some nice cape strats to get through phase 2 there, and we're on phase 3.
I'm going to pop out. Thanks for the restream, and thanks for the commentary on the tracking.
Yeah, and GG's, thanks for joining us tonight.
GG.
Oh yeah, and you guys all got those silvers early. That was kind of nice. Oh no, Windfox takes a Ganon fall.
Ooh.
Yeah, Moogle Charm, good thing you had that bottle with the fairy, speaking of Ganon falls.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
fairy
knew I
definitely
had it, so it was like I didn't take it quite as carefully as I could have. Yeah,
Where'd
I knew
you
I
get
had
a-
the fairy, so I didn't care as much.
You caught one with Unbugnut?
No, I had a
No,
bottle. Where did I
Gamma,
find
you
it?
have one too. I'm seeing it on your screen.
I do? Oh, I do. Oh, I don't
Yeah,
even
it came in
remember
a
grabbing
bottle.
that. Oh, I don't remember where I got that.
It might have been in TR, if I remember.
Oh, that's a pretty nice item.
Yeah, so nice safety there, and Moogle needed it after a Ganon hug.
Yeah, it threw me off completely because I was trying to do let the torches go out so I could hit him with 3 arrows, and then he hugged me, and then the torches were off, so I'd have to light them to hit him one time with a silver arrow, and the Ganon fight took me forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Speaking of fights, how annoying was that Aga 2 fight for you, Moogle?
Oh, it was brutal. Those patterns, those triangle patterns were awful. I think I had a zero hits maybe twice, and then a bunch of single hits.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
nice.
pretty bad.
Windfox just got the triple on Ganon there. And he gets the 4th, and Ganon goes down.
Waiting for that official time as he crosses that bridge.
So he finishes 4th on our restream and 7th overall at 151.46. So get your GGs in for him, and that's still great because there were 14 runners tonight, so he's still in the top half.
Overall, not that bad.
And we've got Windfox in here now. GGs.
GG, everyone.
GG.
So, what are your thoughts there on this relatively friendly seed?
You know, it was actually very friendly. Besides the horrible fire rod location, it actually wasn't that bad of a seed.
Yeah, we actually spent most of the seed guessing where that fire rod was going to be.
Yeah, the fact that the seed pretty much was linear up until that point made it real easy to kind of figure out where you needed to go next. And then once you were locked behind that fire rod, it was literally, are you going to last located or not?
Yeah, it was like once you had 7 dungeons out of the way, then how many more checks do you do before you bite the bullet and climb Death Mountain the second time?
Exactly. Like when I found, like, I assumed, like, all I had left was Death Mountain and Dark Death Mountain, you know, with it being either Hera or Ether Tablet, those my last locations. I figured if it's up here, I could have been in go mode 20 minutes earlier, but, you know, it never at any point really directed me to go back up to the mountain to go check it.
Yeah, it's a hard decision. You know, you want to try to avoid any unnecessary mountain climbs, and you know, this case it's just sitting right there on Ether Tablet.
Yeah. Like when I found it, I was just like, I have to make one more climb anyways. I have to go finish Skull Woods. That's why I got it and immediately left to go to Skull Woods and then just did Tower of Hera last instead of running right in there and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Edium did the same.
Yeah, for me, it was like, I knew that if I had access to TR, that I'd probably go in, and I wanted to avoid that at all costs, so I just started clearing dungeons that I could.
it sounds like that's kind of how everyone played this, was just clear dungeons and just find items as you go, which seems like that's kind of what everybody did. I mean, I wanted to beat Gamma, but I didn't. But that's fine.
You're close. Moogle got me. Moogle destroyed me.
Yeah, I beat you by a minute. Someday, Gamma, I'll get you.
Was I the only one that made the pod dip initially?
At least of the 4 of you who were restreamed, yes.
Okay, I thought somebody else would make this way.
With the hook shot, I thought it was pointing me the other way.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of doing a pot play after Aga. If I got a bow on hand, because usually there's something hiding in there. I was kind of expecting something like a mirror or something, kind of make the Dark World tour a little, routing much more efficient. But no, that bow led to absolutely nothing. That was just trash.
Yeah, I was kind of happy I avoided pod right after Aga.
Yeah, but again, that bug net's very important.
I
got that at least.
It is an extremely important item.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, any final thoughts from any of you? I know it's getting kind of late, though. Most of you aren't on the East Coast.
Hey, it's only 11 o'clock. What are you talking about late?
Yeah, it's only 10 o'clock. No, but
As I was saying.
Thanks for the commentary, restream, and all that. Super appreciate all of the volunteers here. And GG to the runner.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks to Restreamer and Comms, Drosy and Jeff. Thanks for that. Checkers, I don't know who our checkers are, but thank you for checking. And just being able to do this every day like we do. Great.
Thank you for the shout out, guys. Just in case you guys weren't aware, this was actually my debut on comms. First time joining the speed gaming runs here, so I look forward to being a bigger part of the community, and hopefully I can get to comm for you guys more often.
Nice, good deal.
All right, well, welcome to the community, and welcome to the comms.
Yeah, congrats, Jeff. And GG's again to our runners, and please do give them a follow. This actually concludes all our speed gaming programming for tonight, but we've certainly got enough on the schedule for tomorrow, including an open boots daily at 2 p.m. tomorrow, which will be a practice for Speed Gaming Live, which is November 7th through 15th. And we'll be using the open boots mode there. So this is to give runners some practice for that. We've concluded the qualifiers. We're going to have a week-long competition between 80 runners with cash prizes over $2,000. So it should be a great competition to tune into starting right about a month from now, November 7th. That's 1 month away. And even sooner, this coming Sunday at noon right here on Speed Gaming Prime, we will have the kickoff for the ALTTPR League, which all of our restreamed runners today will be participating in. So you'll definitely want to see the reveal for that as we show 86 teams that will be competing. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Be sure to give the Speed Gaming channels a follow. We have Speed Gaming here and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. Once again, thanks again to Jeff Duref for joining me here on his first ever commentary on speed gaming. Thanks again to our trackers, Duo and Jinxie Girl, doing a fantastic job, both of them. And Jeff, do you have any final words for us?
No, I would just like to say it was a very interesting race. I enjoyed the experience making my debut here. Hopefully I get to do it more often. Who knows, maybe you might get to hear me again tomorrow, as I'm definitely available for it. And hope everybody has a great night, and we'll see you again soon.